The first time that I attempted to do graphic design, I was literally sitting on my buddy's lap. Okay, let me qualify that. I'm award-winning artist T.R. Miles. I'm known for my broken glass art style. You may ask, what is broken glass art? Well, broken glass art is simply pixel painting. What is pixel painting? Pixel painting is artwork done on the computer with this. That's right, I'm artist. I'm going to share my screen and show you how the broken glass actually happens. Say it this way. The first time that I attempted to do graphic design, I was literally sitting on my buddy's lap. Okay. Let me qualify that. I didn't have a computer. He didn't have a computer. But I did have this freehand graphic program, freehand. And we were trying to figure out how to, I had this concept for design straight off the CD, okay? And I was trying to figure out how to do just circle and this basic sign, pole, or the street sign. So the squares and basically circles and squares. And I was trying to figure this out on the computer, which wasn't happening. So I took the disc over to my buddy's job. He said, there's a computer upstairs in the loft. So my idea was I was going to go over there and hack away and see what I could do. His idea was that we were going to figure this out together. So of course, I'm trying to get it done. So that's what we were doing. So I'm literally, it's like this much room. So I'm basically on this dude's lap. He's reading the manual. I'm trying to manipulate the mouse and then vice versa. Anyway, long story short, it didn't work out. All right, so back to the drawing board. And moving forward, a friend of mine and I were sitting in my room. We were on the computer. This time I had a computer. Moving forward, okay, I stepped up a little bit. So I had a computer, but still didn't know what I still couldn't do anything. We didn't know what we were doing. So we had this program, and I still use this program to this day. It doesn't matter to qualify that. It doesn't really matter what program I use to do my style, as we'll get into in a sec. But so we were up till 3 in the morning trying to figure out how in the world can you make these shapes and attach color. So I think I crashed at about 3, like I said, and then about a half hour later, he says, "Man, I think we got it. I think I figured it out. If we just put the overlap the endpoints, then it closes the path, and then it allows you to put color." And so I don't know why I'm telling you all this stuff. Once I start making shapes, then of course I can make patterns. And then once I started making patterns, I could kind of express myself a little bit. And at that time I had a screen print facility. We were producing t-shirts and posters, all kinds of different things like that. And we shared a building with another company that was doing manufacturing greeting cards and different things like that. And so I was always trying to figure out how to get my designs differentiated on some of those products. So we were talking one day and he asked me, painstakingly, so funny, if you know him, he asked me, it took him probably 5 minutes to ask me, Troy, is it possible that you can do, something like, give us something like, come up with some ethnic designs? I'm like, oh man, I cracked up. I told him, I said, man, anything that comes out of me is ethnic. I got you, no problem. It's like, oh yeah, great, okay, cool. So to make a long story short, I'm making all these patterns on the page, and then boom, this face just appeared. I'm serious. So I spun around on the computer, and then, with my ability to create shapes now, which I'm going to show you in a sec, I was able to recreate that face. And that was the beginning of what I consider the magic, because I've always drawn, I've always painted, and I've always done all these things, even as a youngster. And I can remember one particular time when I showed a piece to my uncle, and he was, I wanted him to be impressed. He was all kind of impressed. That's really good, but there's a person on every corner that can do that. And at the time, I was resentful, but in a sense, he's right, because there's so many terrific artists. And what he was saying to me is that uh, maybe you should develop your own style. And I never really gave much thought to it. I was always a person who thought that the standard for a nice piece was that a person could have to look at it for 30 seconds before they can figure out whether it was a photo or not. I thought that was quality work, and that was what art was and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, I have, out of the blue, boom, I have this style, and it's a computer style, and it's different, and it's unique. And how 20 years later, I'm still explaining. Without further ado, let me share my screen with you and take you on this journey of broken glass art. And here we go. Here we are. All right. So I'm gonna scoot over here to the big monitor as I do this. It'll be easier for me. So you guys, it won't change much for you guys. All right. So this particular program is Corel Draw. Now, in terms of how my style works, it really doesn't matter what program you use. Every program that I know of has nodes, and nodes is essentially a dot-to-dot way to make shapes. And in this particular program, Corel Draw, is called the Bezier tool. So I'm going to click on this tool here, and I can click, 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 click. And when I close the path, what I was talking about earlier, when I close the path, that gives me the ability to put color inside this shape. Okay, so I select the shape, and right here, this is just a basic color palette. You can use stock colors, which I do very little of, or you can build your own colors, which is what I typically do. But here's an example of colors, a little color box. Let me move this out of the way. It will move me out of the way. So here's my palette here. So I can choose from these colors and add that to the box. And once that goes into the box, the color comes down here to the palette down at the bottom of the screen. Just like if I was painting, just, pockets of colors everywhere. So now, once I make a shape, I can change the size of the shape. I can also manipulate the shape. So I can click that tool, and I can actually manipulate these shapes any kind of way I want. Pretty cool, right? Yes. So when I make images, there are thousands of these shapes to make up to make up the subject. Okay. So another thing that and this is the way I typically would do things when I first started. This was the very first, what should I call it, awakening, being able to use these nodes. This was an incredible coup. This changed everything for me. So as you can see, there's nothing I can't do with this shape I've created. I can manipulate that. All right, so that way, using the Bezier tool. Okay, and another way is just using the freehand tool. Now, I never had confidence for the longest time to actually use this, because this just allows me to freely make shapes, make anything. As long as I connect that endpoint, then once again, I can attach color to it. Okay. Now, that's all fine and dandy. These are the two features that I used, and that's just the beginning of how pictures come to life. But these are the basic elements of how it happens. the dot to dot technique, which was my original technique, and the freehand tool, which is how I do things now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in real time how how it actually works in real time in terms of creating the piece. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can get closer. And I'm going to start with the freehand tool. Here we go. So freehand. Yeah, like I said, this gives me the ability, remember, to freely make shapes. And the key for me is to close the path so I can attach color. Now there is a way to cheat. If the path doesn't close, then I can use this little tool there to close it. So that's a nice little feature. So I'm going to, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to show you how I pixel paint, just like that. We're gonna, let's see what I can do here. The easiest thing for me to show you is let's simply just draw an eye here. Okay, so now I've got that shape. Remember, I said I can zoom in, obviously one thing I can do, but I can also manipulate the nodes, clean them up a little bit. Oh, I can also erase, go backwards. Okay, so let's say this is, we're starting to make an eye here. Let's get this a little, make that a little better. Pull that up. Add that back. Let's get this shape like I want it. All right, so that's the shape of the eye, and then we can make an iris, eyeball here, and clean that up a little bit. Pull that down here. Like I said, once the path is closed, we can attach color. So let's go ahead and put black inside there. Oh, it's already looking like an eyeball, huh? And let's put a little light in. We gotta add some light to it, don't we? Oh, a little light there. Oh, my first miss. You see how I didn't quite make the connection there? I had to go close that path. Okay, so I'm gonna put some color in this eye. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Let's see. Now each color has its own individual palette that has a similar range of colors, so it makes it pretty easy to add color to things two in a row. Now I can, like I said, I can build my own colors. I can click and CMYK, RGB, so it's unlimited. So like I said, when I'm doing pieces, it's very seldom that I use custom pieces. I mean, custom colors, because I need the color that I need. And for me, the nice thing is with my work, I focus on values as opposed to colors. So I can mix and match lots of different colors that have different values. And typically when I'm drawing, I do take the strokes off, which is the outlines. And the way I can do that is I can remove the outline for, let me take that off. I can remove the outline for all the future graphics. So now when I draw a shape, it doesn't have any outline, but I can still attach color. So I can move a lot faster when I'm painting. So now let's add another little color here. We're gonna make this eye pop a little bit. To add, let's see, let me think about that eyeball. Like I said, I like that we can mix colors that wouldn't necessarily work together as such, but they do because they have the proper value. So there's not a lot of purple eyes going around, but I can actually make that make sense by adding some other colors here. Let's get this eye going. What do we need? We need a little Still need here. Yeah, add that back. We're gonna put a little something in the eye here. Give some life to it, put a little light. You need to go into the grades here. I'm getting sloppy, huh? Not closing paths. No. Don't shoot me. I'm really missing. Let's look where what color inside here. And I'm missing all over the place. And the way this works is each time I do a shape, it creates another layer. So each object is on top of the next, but I can move the objects to different layers that I want to. There's lots of little cheat codes. So I could actually send that pink to the back if I wanted to, forward, back to any level, and relative to the other shapes. Okay, so now let me darken this up at the top. Okay. I want to take up here. Little color in there. I'm going to use in there. That side must have lashes. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little sloppy, but I'm just trying to show you guys the gist of how I do this. All right, wow, bam. Eyelashes, top. You gotta have some eyelashes at the bottom. And like I said, if I needed to manipulate these shapes that I'm making, I most certainly can. All right. So I can go on and on and on and on and then to the break of dawn. But this is essentially how I make it work. Use yellow, but good. I wanted to. I could if I wanted. Huh? If I put yellow, then what else I have to do? Doesn't matter. I gotta fix that value. So we need light. So the yellow, we can still make the yellow work here. Eventually, it all works. Finally, hit a piece, huh? And we zoom out, and we kind of got an eye, huh? And what else could we do? I could keep it going and go all the way down and finish this whole thing. It's got me going now here. Let's see, put a little color there. Drop this down. They gotta have a nose, huh? You gotta have a nose. Let's start a nose. Oh, what was that? Sorry. Start a nose with the black. Uh-oh. Kind of see a nose happening. I see a nose happening. Are we using that color still? I guess it doesn't matter for now, does it? The color we use. I think I'm gonna, I'm feeling the lip. I'm feeling the lip. Let me get this lip on here. Never again, if someone asks you about broken glass art, never again do you have to say, I don't know. You could say, I absolutely know. And the reason now, let me show you exactly why they consider it broken glass. I mean, get off on a tangent here. If I go to a wireframe, you can see what these pieces look like. Now that I'm using the freehand tool, it's not so much broken glass, but it's still, just these jagged pieces, essentially. It's illusionary, it's impressionistic for sure. The mind has to fill in the gaps because it's just shape after shape. Now, if I have the Bezier tool, like I said, now you can see exactly if these were the shapes, why it would be more glass-like, but then the name still stands, broken glass. And now take this back to where we were. We put a little, let me do a little something more to this lip, and I'm gonna be out of here. You guys see how I do this? Like, this is what pixel painting is about. Man, that's what it is. This is what it is. Put a little, deeper. Ooh, look at. Let's put that lip behind the first lip, and then here we go. I feel like Bob Ross up in here. Rest in peace, brother. I sure feel like. So what color I'm gonna put here? I didn't close that path. So I'm gonna add a little darker color down here. You know what it is. And then gotta have some light on the lips. Unless they're dry. I'm not closing paths at all. And I said I was gonna use some white, and then I put 10% pink. 10% pink is basically white. Let's do it again. Excuse me. Get some black in here to make it look like they're closing the space down. Black. Yeah. See what that does. It's a wild looking piece of black. But it worked though. Let's get this. Yeah. Like that. Put it over here like that. Put some cherry. A little cherry on it. And then we're gonna need the lips. Now, gotta get that, find that base color, which is that color, because it's on my palette. And then convert that to black, maybe, just to fit the themes. You got that piece of black up top. You gotta fit the theme, so you gotta put some black under here. Make this pop. Close it up. My laziness. Ooh, it's starting to get juicy looking. Let's put some white. Let's put some light up here. Ooh, that's too strong, isn't it? So let's go with a now let's take that value. That's still too strong. You know what it is? Actually, this piece should be up higher to make it make sense. I'm gonna manipulate that piece. I don't like to spend time manipulating my thing. Really, it's like to drop the shapes and let it ride. Like, I'll tell my friends, I'm hot. It's like shooting buckets. I'm hot. Dropping shapes. I'm hot. but it is what it is. I'm never gonna sacrifice the quality just for the sake of saying I didn't change any shapes. Well, a lot of times I don't. I just keep adding shapes, more shapes, more shapes, more shapes. The same way I would if I was painting, just more paint. Make it work. Make it work. Let's see, change this value a little bit. Darken that color there. Like that. See it. See it. Doesn't have any dark on it. Is it all the way over there? I think so. Oh, I hit. Gotta close. There we go. Let's zoom out and see what we're working on. Oh, got the eye, kind of got a lip, got a nose going. Man, how much longer are you gonna paint? Well, I'm gonna close up here just a second because you guys, if you haven't got the gist, you haven't been paying attention. This is what I do. And this is the last piece right here. Let's put that piece on brown. Last piece on the nose. Yeah, let me make that the last piece on the nose. Now you guys see what happens. It goes on and on and on. It's not the best. That value would not work there per se, but I could make it work eventually. No, but and I could take off what I don't like. Start to take that off, just like that. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here. All right, it's me again. So that was a journey into my world as a pixel painter. I consider myself the original digital. I've been doing this. My very first piece was 1996, so it's possible that I'm one of the original digitals. I was always a realistic renderer, so it's like crazy to have this abstract style, but that's where the explosion comes from. It's the blend of abstraction and realism that gives my work all its power. So hey. Now, if anyone asks you about broken glass art, you know what to say. Thanks for tuning in. You will see more of these works in the future, I promise.